24 million. 24 million is the number today. 24 million represents the backlog at the IRS. Now, I told you all before in the previous video that the IRS has gotten us all for tax season, but many of y'all didn't believe me. So listen, what I'm going to do is I want to go over 3 points about tax season, what's about to happen, so you can plan accordingly for your tax refund. Come on over to the other side. Hey everybody, Kamar Yellows here. Welcome to the Finance Rebel Show. This is the show where I talk about money, taxes, business, stocks. If it's about money, we talk about it. So today, I wanted to do another tax season update because again, last time I told you this, you didn't believe me. Well, some of you didn't believe me. So today, I wanted to bring even more receipts, even though everything that I talked about has already come true. But today, I got 3 receipts, 3 articles, independent of me, right? So I did my due diligence, I did my research, and we're going to talk about a couple of things, all right? So number 1, we're going to talk about, again, 24 million. We're going to talk about the backlog real quick. Number 2, we're going to talk about a piece that Charles Reddick, IRS Commissioner, just published, an op-ed he just published the other day, talking about the state of the IRS during the 2022 tax season, all right? And we're going to talk about this new update from the IRS and what they're doing to try to speed through the new backlog. So we're not going to be here long. Just want to run through some of the things real quick, give you an update so you can stay on top of everything for tax season. All right. So like I said, there's 24 million tax returns in the backlog at the IRS and the Internal Revenue Service. That's quite a lot. It's giving a lot of people pause. It's making a lot of people worried about what's going to happen with the rest of tax season. All right. So I wanted to share this article with you all, right? Again, IRS backlog hits nearly 24 million returns, further imperiling the 2022 tax filing season. Now, this isn't me. These aren't my words. You can see it right up there. It's the Washington Post, a notable journalist organization. This is where we're getting some of our reporting from, all right? So I just went through this, highlighted some of the things that I thought were really, really important that I wanted to bring to you today. So nearly 24 million taxpayers are still waiting for the IRS or the Internal Revenue Service to process their tax returns from last year, a number far larger than previously reported by the agency, while many refunds being held up for 10 months or more. 10 months or more, people are waiting, all right? The inventory of unprocessed returns and related correspondence was provided by the Internal Revenue Service taxpayer advocate to the Tax Writing Committee in Congress. The backlog will probably further slow service in the 2022 filing season. The Treasury Department, remember, oversees the IRS. The IRS's parent agency warned in January that it expected its response to be subpar this year. All right, so again, if you haven't watched the first tax season update that I did earlier, I'll just put it up here somewhere, anywhere, so you can go back and check that out as well. All right, so that's one part of this. All right, the IRS's productivity plummeted during COVID. I talked about this before. The pandemic, as thousands of employees worked from home for months without access to returns, audits, and other businesses. Difficulties that furthered years of budget cuts. Okay, everybody knows the IRS is understaffed and under budget. And so the IRS actually plans on making even more and more cuts. Sadly, it's preventing good service for people like you and I who call into the tax service or call into the IRS to get updates on their tax returns. And it's really annoying a lot of people. Now, all right, I do want to say this real quick. I know many of you said I was full of many of you said I was many of you said I didn't know what the I was talking about, but I'm just laying out proof. That's what you guys put in the comments, right? So keep in mind that your individual experience does not reflect the experience of everybody. Here I am talking about a holistic, collective problem, It's not an individual problem. Yes, you might have filed your taxes and got them in a week's time, but I'm talking about what's happening to the overall system. So a lot of people, may not be you, but many other people besides yourself, think about the group for a minute, are having problems. All right, so just keep that going as I continue to bring you more information on tax season and the IRS updates as we go along. Okay, so in January, the National Taxpayer Advocate, Erin Collins, she is the director of the Taxpayer Advocate. Remember, Taxpayer Advocate Service is a department that oversees the IRS. It's like the IRS's watchdog, all right? But they reported in January that the backlog was at least 10 million. It was 10 million. An IRS official in the meantime said the agency counts the inventory from last year's filing season at about 6 million paper returned for individual taxpayers. All right. Let me pull this up on the screen so everybody can see it. So both numbers are far higher than the unprocessed returns the IRS faced before the pandemic. In the past, the agencies typically carried 1 million or fewer into the next tax season. So they were bringing in 10 million, but now the number is high as 24 million. So there's something off with the reporting. Sounds like the math isn't mathing or the reporting isn't reporting. Something's going on, but this is what's being reported now. So it was 10, now it's 24. All right, that's a big difference. All right, so again, just showing you more proof that there is something going awry here. And one of the big issues here is that people are not filling jobs. There's a lot of people at the IRS that are starting to retire. Some people had COVID, aren't coming back, right? But there's a big problem with hiring, just like everywhere else. People are not going back to work, at least for right now. People aren't really excited about going back to work. All right, but now I want to show you what Chuck Reddick said, again, the IRS commissioner, in his latest op-ed that he did recently, just the other day, for Yahoo Finance. So let me share this with you real quick. Just the other day, on February 15th, Chuck Reddick, the IRS commissioner, the guy who runs the place, just released this op-ed. And it's very interesting, to say the least. All right, so IRS chief, this is the headline, IRS chief, we're facing enormous challenges this tax season, this tax filing season, okay? Now, I won't bore you with everything, but some of the things I did highlight in here I thought were really interesting. As you see here, this was published February 15th, so this is relatively new. Today, millions of people are still waiting for prior year tax returns to be processed and refund checks to arrive in the mail. While preparing for their upcoming tax filings, while we can't immediately solve these significant issues, our employees are doing everything they can, and I am committed to returning to normal inventory levels before next year. So we're talking about normal inventory levels next year, okay? Not this year, next year. So remember before I said we were all right, so that's still real, even though y'all torched me in the comments of the last video. But it's all good. It's all good. I'm still here. I got thick skin. All right, further going through this, the IRS is operating without stable multi-year funding in place, which creates additional impediments to our efforts to deal with our current situation. However, we have taken extraordinary measures to work through unprocessed returns and correspondence, including mandatory overtime by IRS employees, creating and redirecting surge teams to address the inventories. Now, we're going to talk about surge teams in a minute. To address the inventories, temporarily suspending certain automated compliance notices, and I'm going to talk about that as well in another video. And where possible, modernizing operating systems to accelerate the manual process of inventories. When they say inventories, they are talking about tax inventories. All right, so that's just, again, more ammunition to let y'all know that this tax season is not going well. It is February 15th. Tax season started January 24th. So roughly 2 weeks, 3 weeks in to tax season, the IRS commissioner is again warning that tax season is not going to go over smoothly. So we should all believe him. I don't think he's lying. I don't think he gets paid to lie. I don't think he gets paid to mislead people as it relates to IRS processing tax returns, right? I'm going to take you into face value. I believe Chucky over there. Okay. So again, they're understaffed. They're under budget. They have terrible machinery. Technology is not the best. All right, let's continue on with what else he said again. And this is an op-ed that he wrote for Yahoo Finance. Sharing this here. For the current tax season, the IRS workforce has already delivered more than 4 million refunds worth nearly $10 billion just through February 4th. And yet millions are waiting for their returns to be processed, and many won't be able to reach us when they call with questions this filing season. This is frustrating for taxpayers and for us. Now, remember I told you in the last video that only about 10% of IRS calls last season were answered. Over 200 million, I want to say 250 million calls, only roughly 11% of those were actually answered. So that is staggering. All right, so here's another big piece here. There are tangible consequences to American taxpayers who aren't able to receive the level of service they deserve, as well as the IRS's ability to enforce tax laws for ultra-wealthy tax cheats. Last year, the IRS received over 120 million calls. Okay, I'm correcting myself. Over 120 million calls on certain phone lines during filing seasons. At times, calls came in at the rate of about 1,500 per second, 1,500 calls per second. But our limited workforce was able to answer. Our limited workforce was only able to answer about 20% of those, fewer than 20% of those. Now, here is the thing that is really, I don't want to say damning, but damning. The reality of the IRS is that we know we need to do better. We're committed to doing better, and we are trending in a positive direction. Our employees are doing everything they can, but we need help, as many IRS leaders have stated for most of the past decade. Without long-term predictable funding, the IRS will continue to be hamstrung, failing to provide the experience that taxpayers deserve. So again, they need to do better. The IRS commissioner is saying that, but he's also saying they will do better. They are changing up, calling some audibles, changing some things up, making some adjustments to do that. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But again, he's already said, the commissioner, that this season, this tax season, 2022, is going to be a rough season. And we're probably not going to see a change or an update anytime soon. So I would say, again, what I've been saying already. All right, so give me 1 second and I will share this last piece for us all. All right, so here's this last piece I was telling you about, reported by CNN. Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick. All right, so IRS to stand up second surge team to address massive tax filing backlog. IRS to stand up second surge team to address massive tax filing backlog per taxpayer advocate. And I've already explained to you who the taxpayer advocate is, right? The Internal Revenue Service will stand up a second surge team. Stand up, basically activate them, get them working, put them in play to address its massive backlog to tax returns and correspondence. All right, the National Taxpayer Advocate said during a congressional hearing Thursday. Oh, real quick, just want to let you know, again, all this stuff is relevant. This was published today. This video, I'm going to put it out as of February 17th, somewhere between February 17th and February 18th. I will be putting this out. All right, so this is just reported today. So this isn't just some old news. So per the CNN article, it says the IRS has already redirected roughly 1,200 employees back into entry-level clerical positions where they are manually filing paperwork and answering phones. To shrink the backlog and address taxpayers' confusion, the agency has also implemented mandatory overtime for employees. All right, and we talked about that. So again, this new surge team is basically they are redirecting resources, they're redirecting employees to fulfill or do a better job at addressing this backlog, addressing processing tax returns. So I'm glad to see that the IRS, made some adjustments and they're doing some things, but I don't know if it's enough, right? I don't know if it's going to be enough. Again, the commissioner, Chuck Reddick, has already said that he doesn't expect inventory levels, tax return inventory levels, to go back to normal until next season. So that's 2023. So they're telling us this is going to be like this for the rest of tax season. All right, the rest of 2022. Stay patient, be organized, electronically file all your stuff. Okay, so listen, as I get more information, more reports to come out, I'll be sure to bring more of those here. If you want me to bring more of those updates, drop in the comments, yes, you want more updates, okay? Quick question. Have you filed your taxes already? If so, have you gotten your refund back? Let me know. Kamari Ellis out, and I'll be back soon. So long.